So let me make sure I understand you correctly. You are suggesting that I should be devoted to, live in fear of, and then also love a God who says that he will punish the children for multiple generations for the sins of the people who disobeyed him, were not in fear of him, did not show him the proper gratitude and love that he requests or requires from people. Let me make sure I understand that this God says that for those unborn who have not done any of the wrong to which the parents, grandparents, great great grands, and so on and so forth have done, that this child must pay for and bear the responsibility of the punishment that those forefathers committed. And I understand how you can believe this in your Bible, because it tells you things like Ham mocked his father Noah, and instead of Noah putting a curse on Ham, the one who committed the offense, even though Noah got drunk, passed out butt naked, that his grandson, that Ham's son Canaan, must bear the offense, bear the punishment for what his father did. There is absolutely no way I can never engineer my mind, my heart, to ever accept this as a loving, caring, just God. But then your God has confusion, although he claims to not be the author of confusion, because in Ezekiel, he says that no longer will the son bear the sin or the iniquities of the father, that to the righteous, and to the unrighteous, meaning that each person is responsible for their own righteousness and their own unrighteousness, and no longer will these sins be passed down to the sons and for further generations. So that does not jive with this idea. Now, I do understand how in modern day, especially with those who find themselves to be black in America, these types of ideas are being used to explain why the transatlantic slave trade and the trans-Saharan slave trade actually happened. Mainly it's the transatlantic slave trade that you're concerned with, because we know the trans-Sahara was done by Muslims and not done by Christians. So this is your way of saying that, well, the reason why my ancestors have been through what they've been through for the last 400 plus years is because of a transgression that occurred with ancient Israelites, and I must be an ancient Israelite, because otherwise those travesties could have never happened, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Because first you would have to gin up your own process of how we became slaves in America and are connected to these Israelites. So then you find small Israelite communities that existed in West Africa, and those Israelite communities that existed in Europe, and how they were expelled out of Europe, and how when the slave trade came, they came and only took the Israelites who were in West Africa, when we know that history shows us that the West Africans were taken as based on the fact that Pope Nicholas and Pope Clement decided that in order to get Spain and Portugal to help them with their crusades against the Muslims in the so-called Holy Land, that he gave them the opportunity to go and Christianize and colonize West Africa, as well as any other place where they found people were not already Christian. So this doesn't jive well with your history, because none of those papal bulls speak on Israelites at all. And as a matter of fact, many of the slave ships that were utilized throughout the transatlantic slave trade were owned by European Jews. Not all of them, but many of them were. So it still doesn't jive too well with your story of trying to create this connection so that you can justify your current dilemma with something that some God of an area to which of people that you never came from, to which the overwhelming majority of the world never came from, that you're going to connect those two in order to make you feel better. And that's really what it is. You just need a feel good pill. And you use this Bible as your feel good pill to make yourself Israelite and to justify the transatlantic slave trade and Jim Crow laws and so on and so forth. When the truth of the matter is this, although there are many obstacles that black people in America still face today, we are not facing nowhere near the same obstacles that our ancestors faced. They went through hell and high water in order to be able to survive so that you can be here. And it is a slap in their face for you to suggest that, oh, they were Israelites and this God was punishing them because when they left the Levant as the children of Shem and Japheth and Ham, or Canaan, well, Ham, then they lost their way and stopped worshiping this God. And even when some of the Israelites came and tried to teach them, they still would not conform. So they lost their way, or even to suggest that all of them were just Israelites and this was just their punishment that they were running from, but now they got caught. It's just a slap in the face to your ancestors who were worshiping and practicing whatever tribal religion that they were practicing, and then were snatched up, conquered, and transported to this land and forced to be slave labor for 200 plus years, and then went through Jim Crow for 200 years. No, sir. Instead, take accountability for your life, for what's going on in your life, what has happened in your life. Fight against the system that disproportionately police black people, that disproportionately deny black people access to higher education, to basic education, to cleaner and more sustainable living conditions. Instead, fight against that. Fight in two ways. One, look to change the system. Two, change yourself. Change yourself. The opportunities that are available to you, take those opportunities. The opportunities that have hurdles in front of you, leap over those hurdles. Do what our ancestors in America did. Take what was given to them and make the absolute best out of it. Take what was in front of them and knock it down or jump over it so that you can establish yourself and your community, and focus on yourself and your community. Make your family great. Make your community great. Make your state, your city, whatever it is, great. Show that you, in the face of everything that you have to deal with, that you are far superior, not by race, but just by mentality, than the people around you who are trying to hold you down and hold you back. Instead of trying to say that, oh, God planned this for us, so this is our lot in life, and so we just have to suck it up and deal with it. But now the time is over. The time is over, but you're still not taking advantage. The time is over, but you're still not over in Israel staking your claim. The time is over, but you're still not running anything. If you want to make a difference, stop sitting up here looking for an excuse and following some bullshit rhetoric because you don't want to do the effort. You don't want to do the work. You don't want to put forth the effort to make yourself into the greatest version of yourself and thereby overcoming whatever hurdles are in front of you. Stop buying into every theory of somebody trying to hold you down. Yes, you have obstacles, but obstacles are meant to be overtaken. They're meant to be challenged. They're meant to be broken down. Just as many of our ancestors have broken down those obstacles, it is now upon this generation to break down even more obstacles so the next generation has even better shot, has even fairer shot at finding and developing their greatness. So stop with your lying, stop with the bullshit, stop with the excuses, and get out there and get shit done, instead of saying that, oh, God, it did this to us because of our ancestors' disobedience. Dude, you need a diaper wipe. You need to change your pampers. You need to change your pampers, huh? You need to change your pampers. Okay, we change your pampers. We go change your pampers. Because that's what you sound like. You sound like a big grown ass baby. But anyway, hey, for everybody else who recognizes these things, just as always, remember that you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.